Sarah Cannell here with you again as we go through the sequences from this new book, my new book, written, co authored with Suzanne Longstreet, The Millionaire Codes. Okay. So we're doing a unit code number 5 today. But if you're jumping into this out of sequence, don't worry, because the Millionaire Codes are a series of brain science based, what I'll call sequences or techniques that you can use to go from where you are to ultimately manifest your next level, your next financial milestone, your next creative work, bring your own best selling book into the world, generate more revenue, have better relationships. We can use these codes for anything that we want to achieve in life. And instead of working just with a conscious mind and plowing forward and, just trying to make it happen, we're going to let go of all the backpacks we're carrying around, or the bricks in the backpack that we're carrying around unconsciously, all the resistance, all the parts of us that say we can't be, do, or have whatever it is that we actually are here to be, do, and have. Because if you want it, it it's what life wants for you, right? If there's a desire for something, it's because you're made for it. The desire is the sign. The calling is the affirmation. Okay. So we're going to do code number 5 today. And this is one that I wish we didn't have to include, only because I'm someone who does not enjoy being triggered. I doubt anyone does. Okay. I'm just going to use that word as like a blanket idea. This is the code you want to use if you are in a situation where a person or something that's happening in your life is driving you nuts, or you feel a sense of hurt, betrayal, being a victim, like any of that kind of energy. Now, again, like any of these, we say this in the book multiple times. If there's something really big, like you are processing a trauma, then you want to work with someone one on one, do this code with, or this kind of work with support. I would put this in the category of, if you're, don't, I wouldn't work this code around a trauma that you haven't processed and gotten, great support. You deserve that support. So if there's something really, really, really major, okay, Suzanne and I, who wrote this book, have both had major things. Like, we've experienced sexual assault, domestic violence, and between us, we've experienced things that to me felt like you know my ones of those. Suzanne has her own unique ones, like capital T traumas. I wouldn't do that for this code, but I would do it around something that feels like a business trauma that's not, super, super, super intense, or a frustration, an annoyance, something you just can't get over. You're just like, it's bothering me so much. This is a great code to use. Okay. So what we're going to do is this code is called the transformer. And what you're going to need is a piece of paper and something to write with, or you can do it on a screen, but then you're going to want to make 4 columns, like in a chart, if you want to do it like that. And again, you'll see in the book there's an example of this chart that we're going to go through together. So here's how it works. Think about something that's really upsetting to you. Okay. And I'll tell you a story about one of mine. um, and and then I'm going to tell you the story so you can get some ideas of what one you want to work on, and then we're going to do the code together. So part 1 is identify the situation that you want to transform. So maybe 2-3 years ago, I felt like my time was being stretched. I was bottlenecking in the business, and we host multiple live events every year. So I wanted to bring someone on who could be like a project manager, for a lot of things in our business, and then also completely own events. Like, they be the event planner, they be organizing where we're having the events and all the vendors and the run of show, just really being able to have like a proper, events person on the team, so I could focus on, creating the content for the events, leading the events, and running our businesses and all the stuff. So I took my time interviewing. I got referrals. I talked to references. The woman we chose did an amazing interview and outperformed everyone, and even went above and beyond with like ideas she'd had from being in like the wedding planning business and corporate event planning. And I thought, this is amazing. And it was a significant financial investment, but it felt like, let's do it, right? And anyway, to cut to the part that caused me to need this code was it didn't work out, right? Sometimes it doesn't. And a combination of things happened that were both under the jurisdiction of this team member. I over delegated. So in terms of my personal responsibility, like, I over delegated. I didn't do enough double checking. I didn't stay close enough to like the contract with the venue, and all in between what I invested in this team position that didn't end up doing what we needed, and the really costly mistakes that happened because of me not doing enough oversight of the contract and some of the follow up, and just let this person say, it's all good, it's all good, it's working out, we're fine. Essentially, it was a six-figure hit to our business. A six-figure loss came out of this experience, and it felt traumatic at the time. I have a team that I pay. I take care of things, and just moved into a new house. My job, like many of you, is not like a hobby or a nice to have. It's like how we live, and it felt terrifying. It felt really terrifying. And while I worked out the financial component, and we were able to get resourceful and come up with plans and create new offers and figure it out, I was able to pay my team and take care of everything for my family, and everything, we figured it out. And I had this just victim feeling around this experience with this person who sort of said she had it all handled, and everyone who I talked to told me she'll be great and has this experience. And again, it's all, as a business owner, I take full ownership, right? So this is the code I used for that particular situation. So I just want to give an example to bring to life, like where you might want to just, I still felt she was unwilling to budge, wanted to, demanded to be paid in full, even though there was even a stipulation that we had, but I didn't have it in a signed contract. I had it in writing in an email that she had to fulfill certain things in order to receive her final payment for this event. But because I didn't put it, again, this is all learning on me, things I do differently now, right? But I didn't put it in a signed like legal document. And so, so I ended up, paying her all this money, and still got, you know, uh, had this big financial hit, and it felt like a trauma. So I share all that just to say you probably have a version of something that is still bothering you, upsetting you. And I just couldn't shift the energy around it. So you're going to make a chart with four columns. I'm going to walk you through them now, or on a piece of paper. And you're going to, in column A, this should be very fun if you're in that sort of victim state like I was, to write down the traits or behaviors that are driving you nuts, about if it's a person involved, or it can be an organization. Okay. So I wrote down things like not taking responsibility. Like I obviously, did, for the fact that I hired her and over delegated and all that, but there was no acknowledgement of her part, or where she didn't fulfill her things. The what I felt like was entitlement to just still be paid in full, even without delivering on what was promised. And then there was just like a absolute, in my mind, like a selfishness of just putting her own needs. Like there were even other things that I specifically said, please don't do this. And she did it anyway. And then I had to pay for it. Right. In terms of, things with the venue and different vendors. So those were things that really bothered me about it. It was like lack of taking responsibility, the entitlement to just like, I don't have to do what I said, but I still get paid. And then the just carelessness around my money, that just putting herself first in every way. Okay, so those were the things that, this is the unspiritual column, right? It's like not compassionate, it's not any of those things, just like, oh my gosh, this is what I felt this resentment around. Again, anytime we're pointing this way, right, there's three fingers pointing back at myself, like where was, like I can look at my own, right, part in all this. But um I want us to stick with this process, because it's different than the like you spot it, you got it kind of framework, which can also be empowering. You're going to write down all the things that drive you nuts about the person or organization or situation. Okay. In the next column, you're going to write the positive intention. Like, what was this person or organization's positive intention in this situation? So, her positive intention was to get her needs met. She wanted to make money. She'd, you know, contracted this position and counted on this money. Her intention was to take care of herself, to, advocate for herself, to make money, and have that financial abundance, right? Um, and put her needs, that was her positive intention. And so then you look at column B. Okay, so column B is what was their positive intention. And in column C, you ask, do I need more of what's in column B? Like, would it be useful in my life to put my needs first, to focus on making sure I make the income that I'm supposed to make? Forget the way that they did it, right? This is not about that, but focusing on financial abundance, putting my needs first, and advocating for myself. Hmm. interesting. If I've been people pleasing or like putting others first in detriment to myself, like then I would need more of in column C. I say, do I need more in my life of column B? Well, I didn't like how she did it, and I would never want to do it at the expense of someone else. But if I just look at the positive intention of advocating, focusing on financial abundance and putting my needs first and making sure my needs get met, yeah, actually, like that would be really good. I would do it in every attempt in a way that only was positive for everyone else as well, right? So different way I would go about it. But yes, those are good things that I could use more of, honestly, as a person that had been doing a lot of people pleasing and caretaking. So the final column, column D, is what do you need to do in order to get more of those things in your life? So in this situation, what I realized is anything to do with events moving forward. First of all, I took back events. I was like, you know what? I've done tons of these. The amount of strain and struggle and stress that it put me through to pay someone and then not get it done anyway, the way that, worked and was healthy, forget it, right? And so, that was one thing, just at least temporarily, right? Until I learn how to manage and delegate and hire better for this. The next thing that I did in order to get more of taking care of my own needs is everything goes in a legal document. So anything with the vendors, I read contracts. We just signed one for our next event. It's interesting, my throat, right? Still processing something around this, maybe. So I read if I have to go 18 rounds with a hotel over that contract and I've read every single word and checked every single thing in every single round, I do it. And ever since then, guess what? Our events have been profitable. They have been beautiful and seamless. There's been total clarity. Like it was so worth staying involved because I make sure, and again, it doesn't mean that I can't ever have help in this area, but this was like, what did I do to get more of focusing on financial abundance? We changed our whole event model and made it profitable. Um, Putting my needs first, like I make sure that everything is in writing in a signed legal document so that if there is something that goes awry, it's just like easy. It's not personal. It's just, hey, we have a signed legal document. Here's what it says. We'll proceed accordingly. That's been really useful, right? And and making sure my needs get met, that I'm clear about, what I need, what this needs to look like how we can set these up for success. So this really hard at the moment feeling situation that felt really crappy turned into this whole new way that we run events, do contracts, manage the flow, and they've gotten way more fun and way more easy to do without and they were so much more profitable because we're not investing in all this other help, right? That was really a pricey investment. So that's Millionaire Code 5, the transformer. What's the situation? It's your turn now to take some time and go through this process and ask yourself column A, the behaviors that drive you nuts. Column B, what was the positive intention behind it? Do you need more of that for you? Because sometimes we don't like something in someone else because we have it too. We don't want to look at that, right? And we can transform that. And then sometimes we don't like it because we feel like it's something we're not allowing ourselves to have. Like this woman took care of herself. She took care of herself and she wasn't budging. And again, I want to do that in win-win energy for people, but I advocate for myself so much more now, right? And then what are the actions you'll take? For us, it was new way of doing contracts, new way of doing events, new event model, new ways of putting everything in legal documents. All right? I'm so excited for you to take that thing that's been bugging you and transform it. You got this. Great job.